Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez here. Another question and series of just back and forth comments concerning precision colors ink set for the Pro 100. Somebody showed a side-by-side view of a recently printed image and the same image printed 3 months ago, and it shows fading. Well, I haven't experienced that, and many others have not either. And so I think what is happening, and I have discussed this really in detail in the past, it is the environmental conditions, and you may not notice them, but anytime there are oxidants in the environment, organic dye inks and even some synthetic dye inks will succumb and will oxidize and therefore fade. The first thing that goes is the black ink. And so when black ink starts to fade, it turns a little bit brownish, yellowish, and that will immediately change your color balance. What I have experienced, this is me with my torture test on the windowsill, is that it fades equally. So it gets a little bit lighter with that particular type of torture test. 7 months of blazing window light, and the ones that I have laid here in the regular room environment have not changed whatsoever. So maybe I have a good environmental conditions for these particular dye inks. But even the Canon original inks will succumb if you have so-called oxidants in your air, and that could be presence of ozone, that could be many other things, that could be the wavelength of the particular lights that you are using. It just runs the gamut. Good paper, like a affordable Red River Palo Duro paper printed on the Pro 100, the Red River non-OBA type papers. I say Red River because it is an affordable paper and one that provides you with fairly good quality. You don't have to go to the Hanami or the Kansan, the Moab, super expensive papers. As long as the papers are acid free and have no OBAs when you print on the Pro 100, and even when you leave them on the wall, they should last you a long time. You will grow tired of them. But if they fade immediately, that is a red flag. That is, it's not really the inks or paper. It could be your environment. And that's been happening casually here and there, occasionally, I should say. And when people report, they're angry. And so it creates this commotion between other users, and it creates this back and forth kind of fighting almost. And, there's no need to fight. The inks are fading due to environmental conditions, period. If you protect those prints, put them under glass, as Canon themselves suggest you do, or in an album, they will last you a very long time. You can just go to, places like Michael's, get yourself a frame right off the shelf, and just frame your prints under glass and put them in an area of your house that does not receive a blast of light, and they will last you a very long time. If you are still unsatisfied, then you really have to move up to a pigment-based printer. If you want to stick with Canon, the Pro 10 from Canon is excellent. And of course, the Rolls Royce for me, at least at this time, is the Pro 1, with which I am printing some images right now, and I will show them in the next video. But yeah, that's the way it is. Dye inks will fade, including OEM. It will fade. And so don't be surprised when you're printing for pennies a print now, and you might have some fading, again, depending on your environmental conditions. I remember in my office when I was working, we had these what I used to call killer fluorescent lights. Whatever I brought from home to my office and put on my wall, my cubicle, would fade, regardless of what ink I used. Okay. Upstairs, I have a print of an image I shot. Oh my Lord, it must have been probably the early part of the century, 2001, 2002. I used my very first digital camera, and I printed it probably very likely with third-party inks. I don't remember from when. is irrelevant really. And it is against my closet wall, just a little folding closet door, and it looks perfect as I remember it being from 2002. All right. So, hey, I also have a 13 by 19 of a shot that I love because it no longer exists in Gettysburg near the Peace Memorial. They really cut down the forest down to nothing. And so that was my last image of that area there. And I loved it. And I printed it with the cheapest, I think it was $2 to $3 a piece, cartridges for the old Epson 1400. And that print is still fine. Now I keep it in a box in the dark. So I'm sure that if I put it up in the wall, it will fade. All right. Even the old original Epson inks for the 1400 would have faded by that point. So, don't be surprised if your prints printed with dye ink will fade, because really that's what they're going to do eventually. Sometimes they'll fade faster than other times, and that means your environment is variable. My environment may be great, your environment may be, questionable. You will not realize this. It's not your fault. It's your furnace, your air conditioning, your refrigerators. If you have freezers, they all have motors, and so they generate ozone, especially if these motors are the type that have brushes, fans. All of this generates ozone. So I'm no expert, but that is what I know. And so at home, I'm lucky that I can put whatever I need to put up on my wall, and basically nothing happens to it. And eventually I take them down, unmount them, restore them, and put new prints up. And that's what I do. So again, yeah, it will fade. Dye ink is just not permanent, period. If you want more permanence, you'll have to move up to pigment, and that's just the way it is. All right. Thank you. I hope I didn't step on anyone's toes that use dye inks or are pro dye ink and against pigment, or vice versa. That's just a fact of life when it comes to printing at home. All right. So thank you once again. I'll be back with the new prints that I just printed. So please don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Until the next time, happy printing, everybody. Bye-bye.